When Modi ji actually came to our institute at a stadium in 2017 and said that, you guys are responsible for screwing up demonetization. And it was live on YouTube. I still remember it was at a stadium and he said that, look, all you crooks out there, I've got my eyes on you. You better watch out. The fact that today in the legal way, people can really make a shitload of money. People are waiting for overnight success. That is the single biggest bane for us as a society to grow and to reach the next level. Mainstream media was giving you vested interest feedback, vested interest news. So everybody wanted to kind of know the reality through themselves, and then they gradually moved to podcasts and things like. So, Raksham, Bali was awesome. I think there were a lot of people, a lot of Indians, Chinese, and I would say a lot of Americans as well.
Uh-huh.
I think this time of the year was the rainy season,
Uh-huh.
which was a little bit of a bummer. A couple of days you had good sun and it was nice out on the beach. A couple of days was rainy. So, like, in Bombay and Pune, when it gets monsoon, it gets a little indoorsy.
Yeah.
But overall, I think the experience was amazing. I mean, I went there after I think probably 10 or 15 years. I've been there quite a few times, 4 or 5 times.
Uh-huh.
And the food scene, the parties, the beach clubs, the DJ sets. So my kids had gone for there's apparently a famous DJ called Yugal who was down in Bali.
Okay.
So I had booked them for that. And they've got these amazing these cliff bars, where they've got these fancy lights and these bars right out there in the cliff. So the kind of setup that they have is
Uh-huh.
pretty, I mean, pretty global, pretty international, and you get a very nice mix of people there. So the food scene is nice. And it's not that expensive. It's just a little far to get to from India because you have to hop on. I mean, the direct flight by Air India I think got cancelled, so we
Oh,
we
okay.
flew via Singapore.
Uh-huh.
But it's beautiful because there's so much. I mean, it's a lot like Goa. I mean, I'm
Mm-hmm.
sure everybody, the North Goa, South Goa vibe. It's very similar.
Uh-huh.
You got a place called Nusa Dua, which is like South Goa, where you've got all these resort properties and you've got these laid back kind of places, and then you got North Goa, which is more of where the action is in terms of the food scene and the parties and everything, which
Mm-hmm.
is Kuta area, which is
Okay.
Seminyak, where we were staying.
Okay.
And then you've got the art scene happening around Ubud and where you've got a lot of culture and stuff like that. So there's a lot for anybody, depending on your interests.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, it's got a lot. And the kind of views actually, Raksham, I mean, if I show you some of the sunset views, I mean it's straight out of a postcard. It's unbelievable the kind of sunset, the colors that you get. I mean, although it's the same Indian Ocean,
Yeah.
but the colors are unbelievable.
Very interesting. I mean, I have to agree with you on the sunset part. So I've not been to Bali yet, not Indonesia. I was planning to early this year, but I've been to like I was doing a backpacking trip, in around January, February, January, February time frame, and went to like Thailand and then Laos and Cambodia and all of that. And few of the like most beautiful sunsets that I've seen is in Southeast Asia. I mean,
Yes.
somehow the colors, the orange, oh my God, it's
Mm.
very different, right? I've not seen that here. I mean, I could be wrong, but yeah, some of the most beautiful one. Coming back to Bali, right? The reason I asked that is because I research a lot about content, right? And
Mm. Mm.
I think there was this wave of conversations where that started happening, and that said, Bali has become like full of these digital nomads now, right?
Mm.
And you will find them like all the hustle bros and the finance
Mm.
bros and all of those
Mm.
there doing like digital nomad thing and all of that.
Mm.
Somehow that got popular over YouTube and stuff, and got a lot of attention
Mm.
from around the world. I just want to understand, like, do you think it's still there, or is it like some different narrative altogether? Because you've been there a couple of times, so you might know this better.
So, Raksham, you're absolutely right. I mean, I saw this trend during COVID. I'm sure you must have also heard of your friends
Yeah.
moving to Goa. There was this big trend
Uh-huh.
that, okay, move to Goa and live work from home, digital life out of a beautiful paddy field in Goa,
Uh-huh.
kind of a village setting.
Uh-huh.
So that all is happening still in Bali because, like, on any high street, you'll find these immigration shops
Uh-huh.
which are selling you expat immigration to Indonesia, where
Okay.
you can kind of move there. I mean, obviously, Australians for Australians it's very popular, right?
Uh-huh.
So it's a lot of Australians move there, a lot of young Australian expats because you got the best surfing over there as well. So it's very popular for surfing, Bali.
Mm-hmm.
And so a lot of these guys just have these long stay expat immigration possibilities in places like Indonesia because it's very cheap
Uh-huh.
and the people are really nice, and it's got a laid back culture, and especially digital, like you said, you can do from anywhere. Like, suppose you want to make your content,
Right.
you can probably make amazing content from Bali rather than from Pune. So yeah, I mean, it does help. It
Uh,
does definitely help, the
uh,
digital economy. And there's a lot of I mean, everybody's just doing fintech stuff these days, right? I mean, it's either experiences or like I'll share. Even my kids, even though they were in Bali, they were still spending probably 8-10 hours on their gadgets, right?
mm-hmm.
So
Mm-hmm.
that habit doesn't change. You know,
Uh-huh.
the
No.
habit of being online
Uh-huh.
is now a permanent habit. That habit is not going to change.
That's very interesting point that you brought up, right? And this is where I want to like take the conversation as well. So in 2020, like something happened, right? In
Hmm.
instantly, we had a lot of time. We had a lot of
Hmm.
time, spending at home, and somehow the overall, attention economy or the creator economy like just boomed because it was so much of screen time that happened.
Hmm. Hmm.
Uh, in 2020, like when everybody was stuck at home, few of the creators or companies saw this as an opportunity and sort of scaled their own online presence, right?
Hmm. Hmm.
uh, what sort of trend have you noticed since then? Because it has been 5 years. I mean, oh my God, it's actually
Hmm.
here.
Hmm.
It's
Hmm.
unbelievable to imagine COVID was like 6 years ago. But what sort of
Hmm.
have you like noticed after that? Because you coming from a finance background and
Hmm.
your own firm with this. How did you guys like even cope up with COVID and what happened after that? So
Hmm.
let's
Hmm.
talk about that. Whatever thoughts you have on that.
So, I mean, definitely, Raksham, I think it was a watershed for everybody. I mean, whichever field you were in, I think there was definitely a turning point that COVID presented to most people.
Uh-huh.
And I mean, I mean, being an accountant, today is a Saturday, but otherwise, I'm in my suit and tie 6 days a week or 5 days a week. So I still remember when COVID first hit, I used to wear my suit and tie and sit in my desk in my room in my house just so that I feel like I'm working, right? Because otherwise you didn't get the work
Yeah,
vibe
yeah, the vibe of
if
it.
you were not suited up.
Uh-huh.
And so every person had a different way of dealing or coping with that change, because it's obviously was a very, very drastic change.
Uh-huh.
But bringing it back to the conversation that you're talking about, the whole influencer ecosystem, which has boomed obviously in the last 5 years,
Uh-huh.
I see a lot more, uh, happening in every field. Whether you're a finance professional or whether you're into, physiotherapy, whether you're into sports management, or you're into any field, as a matter of fact, the need for you to somehow become a public figure online and to create some sort of content online
Mm.
has kind of become the norm,
Right.
right?
Right.
And if you're not doing that, you're missing out somewhere.
You're
You're
lagging.
missing out onto that gravy train, which is kind of growing in leaps and bounds. It's only becoming stronger and stronger as we go forward because the younger generation is accepting that as the norm, right? Especially tier two, tier three, as they're getting more mainstreamed.
Uh-huh.
That is where all the eyeballs are going, is online, right?
Right.
So if you are looking at scaling your business, whichever, or scaling your service, or just getting more, more connections, right, in your field. I mean, after all, learning happens today not only in a classroom environment, but through conversations like this, right? We're learning from each other.
Uh-huh.
Uh, that can only happen through an online creative economy,
Right.
and that has become the norm today.
Uh-huh. Uh,
So the faster we will pivot and accept that,
uh-huh.
the better it is for everybody, I think. And I think we had this conversation last time also. Some traditional, say the medical profession, for instance, right, or the accounting profession, or the legal profession. There are restrictions in all of these professional bodies or the supervisory bodies
Right.
which restrict you from marketing, or call it content or whatever, right? But those things are where, I mean, I'd like to take this conversation. It's just so retrograde that the world is moving in a certain way, and some of these professional bodies are not being able to wake up and smell the coffee.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
I mean, every regulator has to kind of flow with the times.
Right. Right.
I think that's basically the call. And India is a young population. We have to, and we are sitting in the beginning of the year in 2026. We're, it's naturally to be hopeful, to be positive about what's coming in the year ahead.
Right.
So yeah, fingers crossed. I think India is on the cusp of something very big, and this digital economy will take us in every field marching forward. I'm confident about that.
Yeah, yeah, 100%, 100%. I think I share the same consensus there. And also, I mean, the market leaders are sort of paving that way as well, right? If you've figured, a lot of finance companies, or even majorly fintech, has been pushing a lot on content, right? Since 2020, we have seen a lot of companies becoming creator themselves, right? And like creating more content because they figured, hey, uh, after 2020, we figured a lot of these people are now spending more time online. The overall shift has happened already. You can't change that, but what you can do is you can probably try to capture it, as as good as you can. I think Zerodha is going to be one of the leaders that is like paving the way for content. And like, do you know about the Zero One by Zerodha network?
Absolutely, I follow them, and
Yeah.
I think, I mean, like you're saying, it's podcasts and documentaries. I think post the 2020 COVID era again have created a completely new genre, a completely new space of entertainment, right?
Yep.
Before 2020, we used to have these reality shows, which were the norm. If you talk about 5 to 10 years prior to the COVID time, it was all about reality shows.
Uh-huh.
And ever since 2020 came, it all became about podcasts. It all became about, documentaries. And people just wanted to know the reality. I think
Right.
basically that's what it was, right?
Right.
And awareness and reality, because things got so confusing.
Right.
The mainstream media was giving you very kind of vested interest feedback, vested interest news. So
Uh-huh.
everybody wanted to kind of know the reality through themselves, and then they gradually moved to podcasts and things like this.
Yeah.
where now you have a lot of these leading business leaders who have now become sort of media professionals themselves. I mean, look at Elon Musk or any of these guys, right?
Yeah.
They
100%.
are so much in the public space. You know, they're on X almost 10 times a day. They're tweeting something.
Yep.
So, and that's kind of become the demand of the situation. I mean, whether you're a business leader or a movie star or anybody, you are expected to be, giving out your views on
100%.
anything and everything.
Right. I think also another lens to look at this is from a educational point of view, right? You rightly said before 2020, it was all like all reality shows and all this and that, right? After some point, the move has been shifted towards documentaries and towards podcasts and everything. I think it is because companies figured that people are, there is a lack of education in sort of every sector that there is, right? And
Hmm.
I mean, conversation, a podcast is a conversation. Conversations are generally the best way to learn from. I mean, I learn from conversations a lot.
Hmm.
And the second best thing is like probably a documentary or an explainer or,
Hmm.
that sort of content. I think that's what companies figured, and it actually worked very well because now every sort of especially the fintech brands are moving towards, hey, instead of selling them our product, why don't we educate them, right? Why don't we
Hmm.
educate on, hey, what exactly is a mutual fund, or hey, what exactly is stocks, or what exactly is how do you use your cards and all of that, right? So I think the
Hmm.
education point of view came in picture very well. What do you think?
No, absolutely. I think, again, Raksham, I think this is connected to our youth and the young population, and the fact that they are so curious,
Uh-huh.
and they have a lot of time.
Right.
you know so they have a lot of time, they're very curious,
Yeah.
and today, because of the internet, they have the access, right? Earlier, when we were kids, all we used to learn from was from our family, from our
Yep.
neighbors, from our school teachers, and basically from bumming around with our school friends, right?
Yeah. 100%.
That's how we used to learn, right? We used to
Yep.
mess around with our school friends, and you used to learn from experience. Okay, this is a boundary you cannot cross, or this is a boundary you can cross, right?
Uh-huh.
You used to learn that by bumming around.
Right.
Today, these kids know everything because of Insta Reels, because they heard it online from some Snapchat friend or some WhatsApp group or whatever it is. The learning platforms are totally changing,
Right. Right.
right?
Right.
And learning is also, I mean, let's talk about career for one instance, right?
Yeah.
So I've got young kids, and their first question is, okay, what do I want to do, right?
Mm-hmm.
Do I want to do something in finance? Do I want to do something in the arts field? Do I want to become a podcast influencer? What do I want to do, right?
Mm-hmm.
And that is something that you see around you, which is changing the most, firstly,
Right.
right? People's interest or youth's interest, I mean, they don't want to become, say, chartered accountants or doctors, engineers. Those traditional fields are totally dead.
Right.
I mean, there is a lot, but not to say that those kids are not smart. They are a lot smarter than what we were. I mean,
Right.
their way of education, some of the IB programs that my kids are doing are top notch. I mean, I would say definitely their way of learning,
Mm-hmm.
their way of submitting project work or making, presentations versus just, examination by rote. Some of those things have really, really expanded their minds and opened up the way they think and they apply their mind, right? So those are all very, very positive things which are happening. And I think that could also explain the need for greater content,
Exactly.
because their
Exactly.
application of mind has become so creative and fluid.
Mm-hmm.
They are wanting different things, which are probably much higher level than
Right.
what we were absorbing at their same age.
Mm-hmm. 100.
right? So
Yep.
things like what you're saying, investing in stock markets, right?
Right.
Or in investing in any basically crypto or whatever, just basically investing.
Uh-huh.
That is a area which I see a lot more young people wanting to understand, right? It wasn't there when we were growing up, right?
Right.
20, 30 years back, people were not that into investing as a area of interest,
Yep. Yep.
right? So I think those things are definitely changed, because again, you have a lot more kids today who have earned say a crore on Dream 11, or have earned some jackpot on a crypto weird investment,
Sure.
or have bought Nvidia stock and suddenly become a multimillionaire.
Uh-huh.
So these things are inspiring them, because they've heard it firsthand from, okay, their friends have done this, or somebody they know has done that,
Right.
and they're like, I also want to get into that. Why do I have to listen to my mom and dad telling me I need only so much pocket money when I can make my own $1 million bank account?
Sure.
So
Sure.
the kids today are much more aspirational.
100%. I agree with it, and that comes with a demand of learning things, learning like newer things, like how does that work and how does this work and all of that, right? I think one thing that's gonna definitely shape them is from where they are consuming this content, right? Because
Hmm.
generally, education, whoever is educating us, generally holds a position of power, right? You are putting them in a position of power and saying, hey, you know what, you know better than me, and you are trying to teach me, so I respect you. Do you think that's also happening with a lot of these brands that are creating content now? Do you think like from by creating content on or educating people, there is a brand positioning that's happening right now where these become like a little more credible than the other ones who are not doing that? What's your thought?
Oh, 110%. Aksham, you're absolutely right. I mean, if Zerodha is managing to interview Elon Musk and Prime Minister Modi and thought leaders in Silicon Valley,
Uh-huh.
it's definitely improving their brand. There is no question about it. They are definitely that becoming a USP
Uh-huh.
for Zerodha as
Uh-huh.
a brand to stand out from the rest, say a Grow or anybody else. There are so many online brokerage firms today.
Right.
They are definitely being able to stand out from the pack
Mm-hmm.
by saying that we are doing something different,
Uh-huh.
right?
Uh,
Yes, our tech stack is good, our app is seamless,
yeah.
but we're also creating this channel which is got this huge youth following, right, which
Right.
nobody else has got. So
Yep.
that becomes a huge differentiator.
100%. 100%.
And and it definitely helps the brand go into the next level. It helps the valuation. I mean, these are all hard facts.
100.
It's no longer just a soft impact. It becomes very tangible, some of these things. When you go out in the market and raise money,
Yep.
the investor definitely recognizes the power of what you have built
Yep.
through the influencer creator economy.
Yep. I mean, IP has become a big thing now. I mean, these content, channels or wherever they put from or whatever they created. This has like become a huge IP, and somehow, like I mean, 10 years ago, I don't think companies were that interested in, creating internet IPs for their brand. But now I see it everywhere, right? A few things that I want to get into deeper in this particular conversation is as brands are trying to get into content. I mean, the leaders are there, but there I'm pretty sure there are like smaller brands, and you understanding this concept, and you understand about, hey, what's happening in the market. I'm pretty sure you have given this a lot of thought as well. But if a brand is like coming up and saying, hey, you know what, I'm a fintech brand, and I would probably want to like get out there in front of people, how do you think that target market I mean, that's because that's a like a bigger, very good conversation that I have generally, because like we run a content agency on the back end. It's called FDM. I have this conversation a lot. A lot of companies or brands that generally approach us have no idea who their target market is or who their ICP is, and that's scary because they think
Hmm.
they do, but when I when we go deeper in the question, it's like, okay, tell me exactly who they are, and
Hmm.
you are not able to tell me, hey, this is exactly who they are. So I think the first way of like even creating content, the first step before even creating
Hmm.
content is first of all figuring out who you're going to create it for, right?
Hmm.
What's your thought on that? Have you thought about it at all?
So, Raksham, you're absolutely right. So, I'll give you, I'll step back and give you a little bit about our journey, right?
Oh, sure, please.
So, like I said, we're a 75-year-old accounting firm set
Sure.
up by my late granddad in 1946. You can imagine it was a different black and white era.
100%.
And my dad, who joined the firm in the early 70s,
Mm-hmm.
we still had income tax which was 90%. If you add custom duty, we were sitting at large corporates at 120%.
Okay.
Some of our landmark clients back in the 70s was Campa, which is now got its rebirth with Reliance.
Mm-hmm.
And we actually, when we analyzed their books, and they were probably the second largest business house of North India after DCM grew back in the 70s.
Uh-huh.
And they were ending up paying more than 100% tax year on year, right? The profits were in crores even back then. You can imagine in the 70s to have a company which was earning in crores was pretty unheard of, right?
Yeah.
But they were paying so much tax because, if you add up the income tax, the custom duty, the all the indirect taxes that there were, you were ending up paying more than you were earning.
Oh, yeah.
And that's the era that that India has seen, right? And that's putting it into context why we were probably not rule followers, if I were to call it that, right?
Sure.
Our economy became so frustrated with the rule book and the over taxation burden that we just became a society of rule breakers, I should say,
Finding
right?
loopholes and stuff. Yeah, for sure.
Finding loopholes, exactly. And you know it came to such a point, and I bring this back to my kids because it's always a good kind of barometer to reflect on,
Sure.
that when demonetization happened and Mr. Modi brought about demonetization, so suddenly chartered accountants were in big demand, right?
Oh, yeah.
And kids who were in kindergarten and probably fourth grade didn't know what chartered accountants do, right? I mean, kids know what a doctor does or what an engineer does. Okay, it's easy to explain. I'm building this bridge, I'm making this road.
Right.
It's a little difficult to explain to a kid what a chartered accountant does, right? Or
Yeah.
finance professional does.
Uh-huh.
But I remember one day my kid came back, and obviously he knew that I'm a chartered accountant. So he came back from school and he's like, some kids were talking in school that what does a chartered accountant do? He does black to white. And that was, oh my God,
Oh
I
my
cannot
God.
even tell you what a weird dinner time conversation that was with my children. Because I said, look, I have to sit you down and explain to you. I mean, although they were whatever quite young at the time, I said, look, this is not what a chartered accountant does, right? This is not what we as a society stand for and what our morals and our ethics are.
Right.
That's what the perception of society has become,
Uh-huh.
right? In a very very simplistic manner. I'm not saying that that is the norm, but
Yeah.
I'm giving you an example of what society thought a chartered accountant does,
Right.
right? That
Right.
a doctor fixes somebody who's got ill, and a chartered accountant does black to white. Now that is an absolutely appalling kind of image to carry,
Right.
right, in society,
Right.
and especially for your children, right? It's really a bad image for them to carry, that okay, this is what a finance professional does. He does black to white, right?
Uh-huh.
So And then I tried to explain it to them. And at the end of that conversation, my kid came back and said, "Okay, Dad, I've understood what you are doing.
Mm.
You are a money therapist, right?" Because obviously, kids know a lot these days about therapy,
About
and
therapy. Yeah.
everybody's talking about that in school about their parents, their siblings, or their elder relatives going through therapy, whether it's divorce or anything. I mean, in big cities, that thing has become very, very common, right? I mean, you
Sure.
you go to any place.
Uh-huh.
So this is the way he explained it to me, that Dad, you are a money therapist.
Uh-huh.
And I thought that was so on the ball. I'm like, look, that is a perfect description of what a finance professional is.
Right.
You go to a doctor to get therapy for your health.
Uh-huh.
You come to me to get therapy about your money, right?
Right.
I
Right.
am a money therapist, whether it is to do with your taxation,
Uh-huh.
whether it is to do with your books of accounts in terms of your audit, whether it is to do with your investing goals,
Uh-huh.
whether it is to do with your succession planning and your documentation, whether it is to do with your legal trusts and whatever else that you need to do in your life in terms of your money goals,
Right.
you need today a money therapist.
Right.
And that is what a finance professional or me as a chartered accountant am today, right?
Spot on.
So that message to go out
Uh-huh.
in terms of, now let's link it to a content creator world, right?
Sure.
Now, a
Start a
content
channel by
creator world,
Start a
this is
channel with
what
by
I'm
then.
trying to advocate to the world, right? That
Sure.
today I'm no longer
Uh-huh.
just going to teach you about GST. I'm not going to teach you about what is Gift City and how, investing through Gift City is a better way.
Uh-huh.
I'm not there just to tell you that, okay, if you don't follow such and such accounting standard, you will get such and such, notice from the MCA.
Right.
You have to look at yourself in a more holistic manner,
Right.
because the moment you want to scale up, and from my granddad's one man operation from Janpath, where I'm still recording this podcast from,
Uh-huh.
we're six locations in India and two overseas locations. And this is all thanks to the growth that India has had. I always say this is nothing that anybody has a magic wand that, I'm the same guy that I was back, when I started my career at PwC.
Mm-hmm.
It's just thanks to the India growth story, thanks to the changing times,
Uh-huh.
the discipline that I think the Prime Minister has brought in or is trying to bring into the ecosystem,
Right.
right? And the fact that today, in the legal way, people can really make a shitload of money.
Right.
People can
Right.
make a lot of money without breaking the law.
Mm.
Then the incentives to break the law are no longer there.
Right. Right.
And if that be the case,
Uh-huh.
then a chartered accountant or a money therapist can really do the right thing. Why do we have to go to, I mean, if you go back to the Hollywood movies of the 80s, right?
Uh-huh.
They used to talk about lawyers being the worst, right? Because the
Yeah.
lawyers are,
Yeah.
are bad, because the lawyers are always telling you how to wiggle through the law, how
Yeah.
to
Yeah.
manipulate the law. At some point, that was the same story that happened to the chartered accountancy profession in India,
Right. Right.
right?
Yeah.
When Modi ji actually came to our institute celebration at a stadium in 2017 and said that, you guys are responsible for screwing up demonetization, right? I
That's
mean,
what he said.
in a stadium, he said that, right?
Oh my
And
God.
it was live on YouTube. I still remember it was a summer vacation. It was first July is our CA day, so he came on first July, which is our CA day,
Uh-huh.
at a stadium, and he said that, look, all you crooks out there, I've got my eyes on you. You better watch out.
He actually said
And
that.
yeah, he doesn't mince his words, right? So and that's the way it has to be, right? You have to bring about a change, right? To bring about a change, you have to be tough.
Right.
And I'm not saying everybody was doing that, but yes, you have to segregate the bad fish from the good.
Yeah.
And by making an example of some of the bad fish, that's when everybody's going to get back on track,
Right.
right? Because that chalta hai attitude became too bad at some point,
100%.
right? And this is, I mean, a lot to do with society and where we see ourselves going forward, right? I mean, we need to see ourselves as a compliant society. People talk about, ESG
Uh-huh.
in terms of your goals around the ecology, around social governance
Okay. Okay.
structures, and scaling up, say a business like Zerodha or any of these startups. I mean, we all have heard of the stories about some of the startups which weren't, right? Because of accounting issues, because of governance challenges,
Mm-hmm.
right? And some of the other ones which managed to stay the test of time and are still
Exactly.
growing,
Uh-huh.
right? And there is only one difference between them, Raksham, I can assure you, and that is the attitude at the top.
Okay.
If the founder has the right attitude at the top
Uh-huh.
and is not taking those short term fake it till you can make it story, right?
Mm-hmm.
That is the single biggest bane for you know us as a society to grow and to reach the next level.
Uh-huh.
Because at some point, what is happening with this creator economy also is people are waiting for overnight success.
Oh, 100%. Everybody chasing that.
Children are waiting for overnight success, and they don't realize that at some time these things take time,
Uh, uh,
right?
Majorly.
To build a long term organization which stands the test of time, to build the house of Tatas takes time.
Yep.
You cannot build a Tata in 10 years or in 5 years,
Nope.
right?
It'll take decades.
Those value systems and those choices that one makes as a founder
Mm-hmm.
are very hard choices at times,
Mm-hmm.
and those are linked with uh, 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 I mean, I don't want to make it about religion, but our Hindu value systems are like that.
Okay. Okay.
Our Hindu value systems are, you know, sahi sahi, galat galat, and
Okay.
it will come back and there will be a payback,
Oh, there's
right?
karma. That's for sure.
There will always be a payback, right?
Yeah.
That's what
Yeah.
our culture is.
Yeah. 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 I
So
get
if you're trying to make shortcuts,
it.
or
Uh-huh.
if you're trying to, I mean, again, we are in 2026, 3rd January. If you're
Uh-huh.
trying to party too hard, there are going to be repercussions,
100%.
right? If you, yeah,
100%.
so the yin and the yang, right? It's
Yeah.
back to
Yeah.
the Chinese philosophy of yin and the yang. You
Yep.
got the good, you got the bad, right?
Yep.
So if you party too hard, the next day you're going to have a headache, you're going to have a bad tummy,
Yep.
you're going to suffer for one more day after that before you can come back. So the yin and the yang is right there in your face.
100%. Yeah. Yep.
So it's the same thing in the business world,
Mm-hmm.
right? Taking short-term decisions, trying to save some GST here, trying to save some income tax there, trying to, muddy around with your books of accounts,
Okay.
is not going to give you long-term value creation, is not going to give you long-term investor wealth, is not going to be able to give you long term peace of mind,
Mm-hmm.
is not going to be able to give you the scale that you're trying to build by telling everybody on the podcast that, look, I'm such a great emancipated founder. I'm doing so much for society. I'm looking out for educating the next generation.
Right.
I'm creating content for free and spending so much of my time over here. Those, it clashes with your value system.
Right.
By doing something privately and doing something totally different publicly,
Mm-hmm.
that will never work out.
Okay. Okay.
So I think the biggest thing that, I mean, in my 25 years of journey has been A, persistence,
Uh-huh.
and B, consistency. You have to be consistent to yourself, you have to be persistent.
Uh-huh.
And bringing it back to your question regarding your TAM, right, in
Right.
terms of the target audience.
Uh-huh.
The first thing that we did was create a persona, right?
Okay.
That, okay, you are creating content
Uh-huh.
or you're doing SEO, for instance, right?
Uh-huh.
Who are you doing SEO, or who are you creating this target? content for.
Sure.
Create an ideal persona of the person who you would like to attract.
Right.
A as your client, or B as your investor,
Uh,
or C as your follower,
right.
also, right?
Right.
You
Right.
need to create a typical persona,
Uh-huh.
right? So we went out there, we created a persona that, okay, this is the age group,
Uh-huh.
a typical guy who, so we made two personas, right?
Okay.
One for the accounting professional, right, client that we wanted to attract,
Uh-huh.
and B for our gift city fund, right? That,
Okay.
okay, for an investor group, what is the typical persona? Okay, he's an NRI, he's say in his age group of 40 to 50,
Sure.
he is got this much of saving, this is the kind of household income that he's got,
Uh-huh.
this is the kind of you maybe he's a family man, he's got children or not, he's living in a suburban city or he's living in a big city,
Sure.
maybe he's a tech professional, he's a CIO. So you create a persona for the investor group that I'm
Uh-huh.
trying to attract for my gift city fund. You
Uh-huh.
create a separate persona for the client group that you're trying to attract,
Okay.
that, okay, this is the kind of income, say the turnover of the business that I'm trying to attract,
Uh-huh.
right? This is the kind of employee strength that he would have,
Uh-huh.
or these are the few segments that he would be active in say he's in manufacturing, he's in say a tier 2 town, or whatever you're trying to target, right? So you make a persona of the target audience, and then you try to create content that would meet that persona's
That's correct.
liking, or something that he would like, because the mistake that we do is we create content that we like, right?
That we want to say.
That we want to say, right? But
Yeah,
we
100%.
are not our consumer. Our consumer is very different from us,
100%. 100%.
right? Our target audience is not Raghu Marwa and Raksham, right?
Right.
Raksham's background and his life's journey is very different from the journey that probably we are trying to attract, right?
Right.
The people or the followers or the clients
Yep.
that we're trying to attract may be very different, from a different strata of society, from a
100%.
different city altogether. So
Uh-huh.
their needs, their pain points are very different.
Right.
So you need to create that persona to be able to first get to that point.
Oh, 100%. I think like there are very few people that understand that, and I'm glad you do, right? Because I work with a lot of founders. Everybody wants to, like, somehow sell in their content, and it's like, okay, you like the content that talks about your product or your services. People don't want to learn about, hey, how, what are you doing. I mean, they would if you make any sort of sizable dent in their memory and say, you know what, like, remember me for this, and then they probably would want to understand, hey, what exactly do you do. But not selling, I mean, that's not gonna help it. But yeah, I'm glad that you understand that. One thing that you said I want to understand more about is the gift city fund. I'm pretty noob in that, and I don't know much about it, so why don't we expand a little bit on that?
Absolutely, Rakshan. So I'll go back to the backstory.
Sure.
So Modi ji, when he was chief minister 23 years back of Gujarat,
Uh-huh.
and I was told this story by a leading lawyer.
Okay.
He was on an investor roadshow in Singapore,
Uh,
and he's trying to raise some investor funds, investors for his state. And he was, after dinner, he was having a conversation with his lawyer friend of his who had helped organize this investor roadshow, tried to put together a couple of investors during his trip. And he said that, why do I need to come to Singapore to raise investor funds, right? What is there in Singapore
mhm,
that attracts so many investors, that has so many investors being here,
mhm.
that I, as a chief minister of a leading state in India, have to come here to try and create awareness for my state, to try and get investors for my state.
Sure.
And he went around trying to break that down, right?
Mhm.
And that's how Gift City, as a international financial service center or a offshore jurisdiction, came about, right?
Okay.
That let's create a Singapore in India, right? That's what Gift City was pitched at, to create a Singapore in India.
Hmm.
And back then, 23 years back, the world was very different. Offshore centers were very popular. It wasn't a bad word the way it is today. Today, offshore is a bad word.
Yeah.
When they talk about offshore, we will think about some seedy money laundering
Yeah.
operation in some underground dark alley.
Yeah. Right.
But that's not what the world was, right? I mean, these were, whether it was Hong Kong, whether it was Singapore, these are very highly respected offshore jurisdiction, financial centers of the world. London, for that matter, is also, many would say. But yes, with the way FATCA came about,
Uh huh.
which is the US tax disclosure, and then CRS came about, which is the common reporting standard. Basically, all the transparency that was brought about in financial affairs, right? We all have heard about Panama Papers and the leaks that happened subsequently.
Uh huh.
The transparency has taken away some of the charm of offshore centers,
Okay.
but has created a new avatar, I would say, of these offshore centers. So, Gift City is the new avatar, which is a fully compliant
Uh huh.
KYC, anti money laundering, as well as counter terrorism finance compliant jurisdiction,
Okay.
but still gives you the tax benefits,
Okay.
gives you that ecosystem of bankers, lawyers, accountants, back office professionals, uh, exchanges, which an offshore jurisdiction needs,
Okay.
right? So you must have heard of Nifty Gift, which is the exchange in Gift City. So on the television, you put on any of the news business channel, you'll see a ticker of Nifty Gift,
Okay.
which is a different stock exchange from the Nifty or the BSE,
Okay.
which is the offshore exchange, right? It's an offshore exchange in Gift City,
Okay.
right? And it's sort of an SCZ. If you
Oh,
remember from the 90s, the
yeah.
whole wave in China and India on SCZs became very popular.
Yep. Yep. Yep.
So it's a sort of a free zone, which is physically in India, but for financial and regulatory matters outside of India, right? Imagine it like that. It's a dollar jurisdiction outside of India, where there's free flow of capital. Money doesn't. There's no restriction on dollar flows coming in and out because it's treated as a non-resident to non-resident transaction.
Okay.
So FEMA, which is the Foreign Exchange Management Act, doesn't apply over
Okay.
there.
Uh-huh.
It's got its own regulator. So as against SEBI or RBI, which or income tax over here, you got a different regulator, which is called a super regulator called IFSCA, which is International Financial Service Center Authority.
Okay.
Yeah, the government has done a really good job. There's a still work in progress because I think presently there's a little bit of a talent shortage because there are so many companies which have come to Gift City and Gujarat or so Gift City is basically sort of a new city between Ahmedabad and Gandhinagar,
Okay.
right? So and obviously the talent pool is coming from Ahmedabad. There are very smart Gujaratis are worldwide known for their financial prowess, so that's not a
Right.
problem. But yes, traditionally, cities like Bombay is where you got the finance top talent in the country.
Mm-hmm.
So attracting people coming from Bombay or some of these larger cities to be based out of Gift City is a little bit of a challenge.
Sure.
So everybody has, some sort of a HR talent retention challenge.
Okay.
But the regulator is trying to ease that out, trying to be a little more considerate, giving some concessions in terms of their qualification and the experience norms that they've set out for some of the professionals who can work over there.
Okay.
So we set up our own alternative investment fund, Category 3,
Okay.
in Gift City last year.
Oh.
So category three is I'll explain that a bit. You have a angel fund, which is a category one. You
Okay.
have a venture capital fund, which is a category two,
Okay.
and then you have a hedge fund, which is a category three. So a
Okay.
hedge fund basically means you raise private money and you invest in public markets, right? So in terms of the stock market, listed stock
Okay.
market.
Okay. Okay.
So that's what we do. We are targeting non-residents, whether it's NRIs or non-resident trusts or non-resident companies
Mm-hmm.
who want to participate in the India equity story, who want to the India growth story in terms of the equity markets. But we provide both listed as well as unlisted. So about 80-85% listed market exposure and 10 to 15% unlisted. And that unlisted is again only pre-IPO stock. So
Okay.
it's not the Series ABC, but it's the more mature pre-IPO stock like a NSE, for example.
Mm-hmm.
And this is a completely tax-free situation for a non-resident, right?
Oh,
So let's say you got a non-resident friend of yours who lives in Australia,
sure.
and he were to buy Reliance stock today directly. He
Uh,
would pay 30% on his dividend income that he would get from Reliance.
okay.
He would pay 20% on his short-term capital gain and 12.5% on his long-term capital gain,
Okay.
right?
Mm-hmm.
Whereas if he invested through the Gift City AI structure that I just explained, he would have a complete zero tax, right? So
Oh.
there would be a zero tax for him.
Uh-huh.
And of course, there would be some KYC, but suppose he invested through his, his company. Suppose he's got in Australia, he runs, say, HR company, and he's got some free cash flow lying in his HR company, which he's saved ahead. He wants to invest it.
Okay.
Typically abroad, Raksham, the kind of returns that one gets is maximum, say, a 7 to 10% kind of range, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
That's the typical return that an investor in overseas equities is likely to get.
Sure.
If he gets into more structured products, more exotic products, he may be getting maybe 12 to 14% at maximum, right? But that's again for a more, somebody who's a little more savvy, somebody who's a more savvy investor who knows, more option trading kind of instruments
Uh-huh.
will get a maybe a 12%, but the
Mm-hmm.
typical investor will get 7 to 10%.
Okay.
In India, the Indian stock market has been giving between 15 to 18% and long term, right? I'm talking about over 10 to 20 years, we've been giving 15 to 18% returns, right? And in these years, I mean, we're in a kind of a sweet spot. A lot of people have written a lot of articles on this about the India growth story.
Mm-hmm.
But we easily see at our fund a 20 to 25% in INR and a 18% dollar return, right?
Oh my God. Okay.
So an 18% dollar return, because again, although it's a balanced portfolio between large cap, mid cap, and small cap stock, as well as the unlisted, like I mentioned,
Uh-huh.
but the meat of the alpha comes in from the small cap and the mid cap, right?
Okay.
So the idea is which is going to be the next Adani, right? Which
Right.
stock is going to be the next Adani?
Yeah. Yeah.
We have all seen the Adani growth story play out in the last 15, 20 years, right?
Right.
It's basically a 15-year story.
100%.
Right? Now and there is bound to be another Adani in the
Uh-huh.
next 15 years.
Yep.
Right? It's just the way the nature of the game, right?
Right.
Just the way Dhirubhai Ambani made Reliance in the 80s and the 90s,
Mm-hmm.
right? And then there was the Adani era in the 2000 to 2020, let's say this 15, 20 years. There is going to be somebody else in the 2025 to the 2045 era,
100%.
right?
Yeah.
By the time we reach 2047, which is Modiji's target for first world status for India,
Mm-hmm.
we will definitely have another Adani level or scale of company coming out of India.
Not just one. I don't think it's just a
Exactly,
few.
multiple.
100.
Absolutely right.
Yeah.
So the idea is that okay, I am a foreign non-resident investor. I am maybe from an Indian diaspora background. I understand the value that India has. I understand what is happening in this country.
Uh-huh.
Why can't I participate in that growth story?
Right.
By putting away a small nest egg year on year and letting that growth multiply, right? And
100%.
like what Warren Buffett said, it's all about compounding, right? You don't have to have a huge bank balance to start off.
Mm-hmm.
Even if you're starting with a very small check amount, The
Uh-huh.
question is, give it time, let it compound in the market,
Mm-hmm.
and that will do its own magic, right?
All right.
The power of compounding will do its own magic. You don't have to be a rock star. You don't have to be somebody who's Einstein to be able to participate in that multiplication. Just an average person, right? I'm
Yep.
just looking at you. You are an average person with an average household income and an
Yep.
average saving capacity. If abroad you're getting a 7 to 10% multiplication opportunity,
Mm-hmm.
and in India you're getting a 15 to 18% multiplication opportunity without the hassles of dealing with the Indian taxman,
Uh-huh.
without the hassles of dealing with the rupee depreciation risk. That's what Gift City provides you,
Okay.
and giving you an opportunity to participate in the India growth story. The Gift City opportunity today is unparalleled as per me. It is unparalleled what Modi ji has given us
Mm-hmm.
in terms of the diaspora's opportunity to participate, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
And the
Yeah.
ticket size is important just to mention over here. The AIFs obviously come in different, categories. Ours is a non-retail category,
Okay.
and the way Gift City IFSCA regulations define non-retail, the minimum check size is 150,000 US dollar,
Okay. Okay.
which is very similar to what SEBI prescribes in the domestic market as a AIF investor. 2 crores is the minimum. So
Okay.
this is somewhere in the same ballpark.
Uh-huh.
So that's the minimum check size for a non-retail AIF investor.
Okay. Okay.
But again, I'm talking about an average household, right?
Right.
As an average household, I'm three friends living in Australia or living in Singapore, having a good job at an MNC. I'm saving, say, $50,000 as my
Yeah.
corpus. The three friends put together are saying, okay, 50,000 each. I'm putting in $150,000.
All right.
That's a very doable thing
The
for an
club
average
is
person
very
to
easy.
do, right? So that is very much possible that three friends get together and say, okay, I will jointly invest into this $150,000 and participate in the India growth story, have zero tax,
Uh-huh.
have the compounding power, and the India growth story play to the advantage over the next 20 years.
And I think I see a lot of interest there as well. I mean, Indian diaspora is looking back at India and saying, "Hey, you know what? I think there might be a better opportunity, back home." Or, as you said, rightly said, right, the India growth story that's coming along. I think a, a lot of this diaspora is getting more and more interested in the markets, in the opportunities that are coming up with the overall growth trajectory that we are on.
No, absolutely. US has obviously seen a huge rally around AI stocks and AI. But again, some have been saying that's a bubble. That's kind of like the Y2K moment that's happening in the US,
Sure.
where everything associated with AI is just going crazy in terms of valuation, in terms of multiples, in terms of things like that. So it still needs to really be tested in terms of real world application
Yeah.
as to how much the AI really contributes in a real world manner.
Hmm.
So a lot of that is early days right now.
Right.
But yes, I think a lot of the Indian stock or the Indian growth story is coming from the domestic consumption, right?
Okay. Yeah. Yeah.
The domestic manufacturing, the domestic consumption story, which are a lot more tangible, I would say,
Uh-huh.
right?
Uh-huh.
A lot more tangible in terms of you can see that playing out, right? You can see, say, Zomato or delivery apps, the kind of traction that they're getting.
100%.
Those are all things which are visible to a layman, right? Without being too out there or
Yep.
futuristic.
Yep.
So definitely there is access to better services. Again, I mean I was there in Moscow in August, and I was talking about the trade between Russia and India is still more than 75% restricted to the oil and gas space and fertilizer, right?
Uh-huh.
So oil and gas and fertilizer together contributes almost 80% of the trade between Russia and India.
Oh,
But if we talk about financial services, right, there is such a huge opportunity, Raksham, you can't even imagine, because Russia is out of the SWIFT system.
right.
India has such a humongous role to play in terms of our fintech industry. Our payment software capabilities are completely best in class, right?
100%.
So if you go to any global, say a Zello or any of these apps in the US, they all have that tech stack being developed out of India, right?
Yep, yep.
So why can't we, solve these problems, right? I mean, it's and globally the geopolitical atmosphere is going to be such that there are going to be more and more of such events going to happen in the future, right?
Mm-hmm. 100%.
The the militarization of the dollar, or some would say,
Mm-hmm.
is I mean, this is the new big wag world that we're living in, right? This is the
Yep,
starting point,
yep.
right? It's not clearly going to be the end. This is the way. It's like once you unbox something, right? You can never unbox it back.
100%.
So this is going to be used a lot more in the future with lot more geopolitical events unfolding.
Uh-huh. 100%.
And India's financial service industry has a huge role to catapult itself
Right.
by really providing these solutions to the world, which is very much required.
I hear that. I mean, I actually hear that in my conversation. So I speak to a lot of global fintech brands as well, and they are very surprised and very much in sync with this thought. And said, you know what? I mean, what India is doing with fintech is phenomenal. I mean, people did not think, a country like India would emerge as a, fintech hub, and the tech that you have, and what you guys are doing with UPI, and the, platforms that government is helping you build and all of that. It's phenomenal. So I think there's definitely this space where we are, like getting in front now. That's for sure.
I'll give you a small example, right? I was in Bali, like I mentioned earlier,
Uh-huh.
and I had gone to a gas station to refill gas, petrol in my car.
Uh-huh.
And the guy at the gas station, I obviously had a couple of notes in my hand. I was trying to pay.
Hmm.
And he was trying to say, sorry, I can't take cash. We only accept a QR code, right? So he was asking me for a QR code on my phone to pay for petrol at a gas station in Bali.
Okay.
And obviously, I didn't have that QR code that he
Right.
wanted.
Right.
And the result of that was that I had to ended up buying a premium petrol, right? There was a regular petrol, and then there was a
Uh-huh.
premium petrol.
Uh-huh.
So the regular petrol was only sold through QR code, and the premium petrol
Oh,
was where I could actually pay by cash.
oh, interesting.
So look at that. That's a small economy like Indonesia,
Uh-huh.
where they're saying if you want to pay for regular petrol, which is what they call the light
Okay.
version rather than the premium version of petrol,
Uh-huh.
you have to pay by the QR code, right? So, I mean, that's where financial services is going globally, right?
Yep.
Every country is going to have that unique thing, and now the need to bring it all onto the same platform and kind of make it more usable for a global traveler.
Yeah.
There is a huge need for that, and again, India can play a huge role in that.
Right. Right. Do you see that happening? Because I travel a lot as well, and I see this everywhere. Like, China, Southeast Asia, everywhere they have like their own QR paying system now, as India as well. But they don't work with each other. Do you see that happening? I'm not sure if this is the right question for you, anyways. But what's your thought?
No, you're absolutely right. I mean, in China, I mean, WePay
Yeah.
and WeChat
Yeah.
is basically the super app, right?
Yep.
Which
Yep.
obviously
Yep.
in India, we tried to have our own super app. Tata tried it. A lot of people tried it and it failed.
Yeah.
But over there, between Alipay and WePay,
Uh-huh.
everything is on the app.
Uh-huh.
and there is definitely an integration issue,
Uh-huh.
and that's why international global apps like, I don't know if you use Revolut or Wise or some of these global payment apps. Wise is very much in India also now.
Uh-huh.
They are becoming very, very popular for specifically cross-border forex payments.
Okay.
Because if you were to use a forex payment through your bank, let's say you
Uh-huh.
go to an SBI branch or an ICICI branch and you say, I want to transfer, say, $1,000 abroad,
Uh-huh.
say, for my kids, some course that he's doing abroad to
Okay.
study,
Uh-huh.
the time and the charges in terms of the bank charges that you end up spending is
Uh-huh.
just crazy. It's crazy,
Oh, is
right?
it?
Whereas if you use these apps, the bank charges are guaranteed lowest,
Uh-huh.
and it's so much faster and easier and simpler and more user friendly. So
Interesting.
there is a niche for cross-border payment apps, which is already, making, it very popular. Like I
Okay.
said, Revolut and Wise, you can have a look at that. I mean, they all are. Uh, these are more UK FCA licensed apps.
Uh-huh.
FCA is the regulator, the financial regulator out of UK.
Mm-hmm.
So typically, banking system, UK is still very traditional and gives you a lot of more respectability. So a lot of these payment app systems try and register themselves out of the UK
Uh-huh.
and then go global. But yeah, I mean, the point that I was trying to make is that the tech stack behind is all Indian knowledge, right? It
100%.
may be a UK licensed, and it may be owned by,
UK
for
firm or
instance, Revolut is owned by this ex-Russian British guy now, whatever. But
uh-huh.
the tech is all Indian, right? It's all Indian tech, Indian, techies who are running the show there. And definitely there's a huge financial service opportunity that India is sitting on the cusp of. I
100%.
think we are not that good at marketing ourselves, and hopefully podcasts like yours, awareness around some of these conversations will help scale up the opportunity for financial service industry in India.
100%. I think that's changing now. I think people are coming out with a speaker and like starting to market. There's definitely a lot of conversation happening around like around the globe, talking about what we are doing here in India. So that I'm pretty sure that's changing now, right? So yeah, I mean, I think this was a very very good conversation. I wasn't expecting to go this deep in a lot of different topics that we actually covered, but I think I had a fabulous time speaking to you, and thank you so much for taking the time and speaking to us. I think the people that are looking at this are definitely going to take a lot from this conversation.
Thank you so much, Raksham, for your time and for your team. And I likewise really enjoyed this conversation. I think these things are very important to just put positive vibes out there.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, online you see a lot of negative commentary,
Hmm.
but I think to create positive conversations and positive constructs is equally important. And thanks so much for doing that, Raksham, and thanks for your channel for contributing in such a positive manner.
Sure, sure. Thank you so much for taking the time, Raghu. And guys, I'll see you in the next one. Ciao.
Yep, absolutely. All the best. Thank you.
Okay, bye bye.
Cheers. Bye bye. Bye bye.